Thank you, Kushal. So, any specific question from yesterday's session, where actually we gave a brief introduction to the Web3, and we also actually found out the origin of web, starting with internet, then Web 1, which was only a read-only web. Then we moved on to what we call read and write web, which actually created companies like Facebook, Google, and others. Now we are moving to what we call Web3, which has certain qualities and certain features. Based on that, actually, we can build a new category of businesses. So let me start in a minute's time, precisely at 6:30, and I will just try to summarize what we did yesterday, and then we'll move on because this is a series of streaming that I'll be doing on the Web3. Okay, yeah, it is right time. I'll start now. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to my series on Web3. In this series, I'll be talking about the new and emerging technological world called Web3, which is actually, in a sense, an extension of Web2 and an improvement on the Web2. So there are many possibilities are created on this Web3. Yesterday, we told that we started with internet back in 1990, where actually in the initial stages we could only upload a file and download a file because we are using what we call FTP protocol. Thereafter, actually, we came Web 1, where actually it was possible to introduce a technology called HTML. So HTML was enabled us to create files and link them. So once this actually become, then actually it was become a kind of a publishing platform where actually we can interact with the website. For example, I can go to a banking application and give my account number and make money transfer. Okay, so that second web is called actually Web 2, where it actually able to create application where read and write. For example, you can go to Facebook and make a like you can some column. I mean some this one, or actually you can also comment on something. Okay, then it's also possible for Google to create an index because it can go throughout the web and read those things and write it back whenever you actually search for that. So now in 2013, we introduced one more concept called Web3. The reason was actually the Web2 was very centralized. There are some 10 or 12 companies in the world today in the internet, starting from say Google, Facebook and all. They control much of our data and also the searching pattern and all. So in order to overcome, we are creating a new web, which is actually decentralized. So today we'll be talking about DAO, that is introduction to the decentralized autonomous organization, building blocks of DAO and all. Before that, actually, we will make a revision. So what we did yesterday was actually we introduced what we call Web3 features, which is actually decentralized, 3D graphics, and blockchain. So these are the fantastic, and we are the fantastic, the fundamental features of Web3. Now, the way actually HTML enabled to create a company like Google, similarly, the way that read and write web enabled us to create what we call Facebook company. Each one of these actually are enabling us to create a new kind of organization. For example, I can create a decentralized finance called Bitcoin, and I can create a metaverse using 3D graphics. Actually, I can create blockchain-based gaming. So these three qualities, I mean, these three features are enabling us, creating potential for us to create different kind of companies or institutions. So today I'll be talking about one such organization called Decentralized Autonomous Organization, which enables us to create an enterprise on the Web3, which is not controlled by anybody, but every member will have a control and contribution towards that. Okay. So as I told you, the Web3 actually created a new opportunity for us. So by using 3G graphics and other things, we can create metaverse. Okay. Similarly, we using Bitcoin and all, we can create next general application. Today we are talking about one organization which is called DAO. The DAO is, that is Decentralized Autonomous Organization. That is what I am going to cover today. So you can interact with me by asking your questions on the chat channel. I will try to answer them separately. Okay. So now, as I told you, see, whenever a new technology comes, what actually happens is earlier we find only one application for that, but we don't understand the other applications at all. For example, when smartphone came in 2007, people thought that phone was only meant for, say, making calls. But immediately after, people started developing applications and all. And today, in the mobile phone, actually we talk less. We actually use applications more, whether it's WhatsApp or Facebook or Instagram and all. Okay. So what Ethereum is actually doing is, it is actually using the cryptocurrencies to create competitive markets. Whereas Bitcoin created only one application of blockchain called digital currency. Now this company is creating competitive markets. That means it is converting blockchain into a platform so that actually people can start working on that. To give you a very simple example, so when you started writing small C programs, nobody thought of actually software. But software is nothing but a bundle of, a bunch of each program doing certain activity. So jumping from writing a single program to a bundled application like a software was a huge jump. But once people know that they can write a software, then there is no limit. There can be a software for student management, there can be a software for cricket management, there can be a software for factory management and all. So that is what actually now is happening. So what Ethereum is doing is, now blockchain is not only used for digital currency, actually you can use it for many other things. For that, they have created a platform, and DAO is one such application. So one of the most ambitious blockchain project of Ethereum seeks to use cryptocurrency to decentralize products and services. Not only Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just digital currency. But their idea is to use this idea of cryptocurrency, that means creating a block on the blockchain and making it valuable, like tokenizing, to decentralize products and services. Today we have a centralized application model. That means Facebook will create one application that you have to download and use. To use that, you have to become a user of that. I mean, you have to create an account. So the way is, if Bitcoin seeks to serve as a digital gold, so what is actually Bitcoin is doing? It is showing you that blockchain can be used to create digital currency. But now Ethereum has taken it further. It says not only that, you can use any kind of digital centralized products and services, and that is a fundamental departure from the Web 2 to Web 3. So now let us we understand actually the power and potential of decentralized application. Bitcoin is more like an email. So for example, when we write a program to add two numbers, it is one application. Or write a program to sort 10 numbers, that's an application. But when you write a software, or when like an operating system, there is sorting in that because it will sort documents. And there is a kind of a searching in that because it will search for all the directory. But it is not one program, it is a combination of programs. Similarly, Bitcoin is more like an email. That means it will do one function very powerfully. Whereas Ethereum has more common with a web browser. What does web browser? Web browser actually help you to browse. It also upload a file, search for a particular thing in the internet, and also download a file. So it has multiple functions. So Ethereum, which is actually created by, based on a blockchain, does more than actually creating a digital currency. So one of the things that it creates is actually called DAO. Okay. Ethereum would create its own virtual machines because it is done on a cloud platform, a scripting language needed to execute its program, raise funding through a sale of its own new currency because it will use the Bitcoin idea called Ether to create an account. So what it actually means is, you can use blockchain as a platform so that actually you can take it further. And what is important here, look at here, Ethereum tracks changes. That means if you do a transaction like on a Bitcoin, so blocks get updated, that it will do anyway. And then it also do the potential changes yet to occur. For example, if somebody has transacted at 10 o'clock, it will know that this transaction is to be updated by 10:05 or 10:15. So that is called state in computer language. A different set goals, which is heart of its vision. So essentially, Ethereum is a technology which is based on blockchain and would like to create a programmable blockchain so that people can create different things on that. For example, they can create a digital currency like Ether, or they can create an asset like NFT. They can create a game on that, and they can also create other things like DAO. Okay. So, any question at this time? Okay. Mr. Mustafa is asking how DOS is operated. I will tell you that in 2 minutes time. Okay. So, in most practical sense, DO is a combination of two parts. What are they? They are smart contracts. That means they will be used to hold capital, that is money, and enforce decision-making process before capital can be spent, and a token representing the ownership of a DO. Okay. So let me tell you certain things before that one. See, the blockchain is used to create a block which is immutable. That means you cannot change the contents of that. So that means anybody who is participating in a blockchain activity can trust that this block contains correct information. So now the same idea can be used to extend to different purposes. For example, you can create a block where actually you can write an agreement. For example, suppose you are renting a house for 11 months. There is normally a 11-month agreement between owner and the tenant. Okay. Now today what we do actually, we write it on a bond paper and exchange with the owner, a Xerox copy. But suppose you are using a blockchain or Ethereum, you can write that agreement on a blockchain and execute that agreement on the blockchain itself, and that is called smart contract. So smart contract is nothing but an agreement, a regular agreement which is put on the blockchain. So now what DAO does is it actually creates one smart contract between people. So what does it do? Hold capital. That means you create an organization, hold money in that. Okay, and before and enforce a decision making process. That, for example, if there are 10 members, 10 people have to agree, and when they are agreeing, they are voting for something, and they are creating it on the blockchain itself. And once they vote, they cannot actually go back on that because it is also created on a block, and that it is created permanently. So the same idea which is used to create Bitcoin is also used to create an agreement. Okay. And token is always used because yesterday I told you one of the value of the Web3 is actually tokenization. That means it will create digital assets. That means if I have a piece of a land, okay, I can create an NFT on that and actually create it on the put it on the block so that actually it will give you a value. So that kind of any entity which has a value on the blockchain is called a token. Bitcoin is a token, right? So from a software perspective, actually, a DAO is a decentralized autonomous is a software running on a blockchain that offers a built-in model for collective management of its code. So that means today we are running an organization like college and all with rules and regulations written in a book. But it is possible that you can write a smart contract where actually you can help people to make a collective management of its code. Example, I will tell you. Assume that there are 10 students who are doing a particular project, and suppose they belong to different countries and all. Now they can create a decentralized autonomous organization, become members, and that membership actually happens on a particular software called smart contract. What it says is these 10 students are coming to do a project, and any feature to be added is to be discussed among all the people, and it should be going for a approval. And all those things can be collected and stored on the smart contract. DOs differ from a traditional organization by boards, committees, and executives. For example, if you took a company like Reliance and all, there is Mukesh Ambani and a board and a management which will take the decision. So that means all shareholders are not equal. Somebody who has a more share actually will have more a say. But in a digital DOS, what actually happens is each member has a voting power and everybody has equal power. And how does the decision happens? It actually to use a set of rules. For example, all 10 students will participate in this. All 10 students have a right to decide whether a feature to be added to a software or not. Okay. And all 10 people should be working on a same platform. All those things are done. So essentially, DO is a software driven and software written organization. How does it operate? It is very simple. Actually, DOs are often effective and safe and work with like-minded people around the globe. For example, assume that you are interested in something which is so unique that you don't find people in and around your home or in your neighborhood, but you can create a DAO where actually you can actually call people from around the world and create that organization. So think of them like an internet native business. That means a business which is completely created on the internet. For example, Google. Google has no offices. Everything is created on the internet. Similarly, this kind of an agreement is completely created on the internet. And how does it run? It runs on a software which gives you an option to join there and execute your vote and make a decision. And decisions are governed by the proposals. That means now one of the students will say that we let us do this project. So that is called a proposal. A student will propose, and remaining 9 students will vote so that whether it should be accepted or not. If a majority is not voting for the new project, the project will be dropped. But if everybody supports that, it will be taken. Okay. And everything is out and open, and rules around spending are baked into the software code. That means anybody can see a software code of a DAO and see that what does that particular organization or a DAO do. Okay. Okay. So any questions? Okay. Okay. I'll come back to the questions here. I think, Mustafa, I just explained how DAOs are operated. There will be a governing council. That means everybody will join that council. Every member has an equal right. How do they join? I will tell you later, because they have to give a cryptocurrency. And once they join, all the agreements are actually written and put it in the smart contract. Okay. And Mr. Prashant is asking, what is a smart contract? I told you, any agreement between you and me, whether it is selling a house or renting out, can be written on a blockchain, and that agreement can be implemented using a particular code, and that's why it's called smart contract. That means contract which is written using a smart software. Okay, hopefully I have answered your question, Mr. Mustafa and Prashant. And final next question is, if DO is needs to buy a physical assets, what name goes on the paperwork? Okay, see, Kushal, suppose a DO want to buy something. Actually, now as you probably see in India also, even physical assets can also be located and they can be blockchain. For example, Indian government actually is using a blockchain to application in the land record. That means if you have a piece of land, say in Bangalore or Bombay or in a rural village, now that can be converted into a blockchain address so that it can be connected to your Aadhaar number. Okay. So now that agreement part can be put into what we call a blockchain agreement. Okay. So have I answered your question, Mr. Kushal? Okay. So what I covered so far is actually the decentralization quality of the feature of the Web3 enables me to create different organizations. So these organizations, every member has equal right. They can be coming from anywhere. They can vote. So now this organization can be created on a blockchain, and the rules and regulation of that DAO is actually embedded into the code. So nobody can actually avoid that code. Everybody has to participate in it. That is the story that I have covered so far. Okay, now I will move on. Now I will talk about what are the reasons, what are the different applications for which actually DAO can be used. And DAO is called, another word is called DAO. Okay. So while DAO are still a nascent stage, many DAOs already exist. Examples include this. There's something called Dash, a cryptocurrency managed by its users. Bitcoin is something which is public, but it is possible that 10 or 20 people or even 1,000 people, local people can come, create their own blockchain, create their own currency, and they can manage. It is like managing a private currency. And there is an example, a company called Dash as does this. There is something called DAO, a software that maintains stable coins. Stable coin is actually one cryptocurrency. And there is a company called Agur, which is a prediction market platform. That means, in marketing there is something called predictive sales or something called trading. So trading also depends on predicting whether a particular share will go up and or come down. Similarly, in a blockchain model, Bitcoins, this company does this. Okay, and there are many other examples which can use. For example, there are social media platforms such as StreetMate, or shared virtual worlds such as Decentralized, actually which have created completely blockchain-enabled platform where you can buy games, you can buy piece of land and other things. So if you ask me a question, is there any, this DAO is a real thing? Yes, many companies have already started using that. So broadly speaking, what are the ways in which you can use? For example, you can create a member-owned communities without centralized leadership. For example, you can create a club like Rotary or a student or a Google development students groups and all without a centralized owner. That means today you can create a group, say in Google or WhatsApp, but then those groups are actually managed by not you, it is by either WhatsApp or Google. But today, if you can use a DAO, then you can create a group on the internet which is owned completely by you and not only by you, all the members equally. It's also a safe way to collaborate with internet strangers. See, today one of the problems which happens in either Facebook or in WhatsApp and all, you are not sure whether the other user who is sending you a message is really a good person or a bad person, or whether he is a robot or other a real person. But in internet, I mean in the Web3, actually using digital signature, we can ensure that they are not only strangers, they can also be reliable and they can be believed. And DAO is also a place to commit funds for a specific cause. For example, assume that you are interested in supporting some ethnic group in a particular hilly area. Then you may not find all the supporters in one place only. Then you can raise fund by creating a DAO and publishing it on the internet, and people will contribute towards that by either through some digital currency, and you can use it. And before you are using it, actually you can also kind of conduct a kind of a meeting and say whether everybody supports this particular cause, and if they support the cause, then you can spend. So DAO, like a new organization, it can be created for many things. And I can tell you a history also. See, before 18th century, there was nothing like companies and all because we never needed them. But industrial revolution created a necessity for creating a companies. So then also rising funds, we created stock market. So similarly, today we are creating a new kind of an organization on the internet called DAO. DAO will help us to create a worldwide enterprise by collecting members from anywhere, collecting their funds, collecting their votes, and running that organization. Okay. So somebody was asking what is smart contract. On Ethereum, smart contract is a multi-step computing function. That means it says this agreement is between person A, who is the owner of the house, person B, who is the rentee. Okay, and then the agreement is that the rentee will stay for 12 months, 11 months, and then he will pay a rent of 300 rupees per month. Okay, and this 300 rupees is deducted from his bank account, and then it will go to the account of the owner. All those things are actually comes under smart contracts. The question now comes like, why do we need DAOs? Starting an organization with someone that involves funding and money requires a lot of trust in people. Say, for example, today if you want to bank loan, they will ask you for collateral. That means you have to put your house or your asset there. Or suppose you want to ask money from the market by raising an IPO and all, then you have a proven record of good performance and good services, products and all. So if that is not possible, then how do you people will give you money? But now on a digital platform, it is possible because blockchain gives that support. So what blockchain says that you can enter this agreement and you can protect your money, you can protect your voting right, and you can start using this particular kind of organization for creating a new enterprise. Okay. This opens up new opportunities for global collaboration. That means one African, one Indian, one Chinese can come together, although they don't know each other, although they don't belong to each other, because this is actually happening on a blockchain. You can trust Chinese because he is sharing his digital signature with you, which is verifiable on the blockchain. You can trust a South African because he is also giving a digital signature of his, which is written, I mean, which is created using a cryptocurrency and which is can be verified by anyone. Okay. So now I told you you can create a DAO for a charity. That means if you want to help people, say in Pakistan, because they are facing floods, then actually you can create a DAO and announce it on the web. You can get contribution from Australia, also Africa, New Zealand, and all you can do that. Or you can also create a freelancer network. For example, if you are an artist like Bharatanatyam, and if you want to create one organization which can reach the entire world, you can do that. And venture in grants. Also, for example, if you are an adventure or if you want some kind of a new idea to be implemented, you can seek the support by creating this DAO. Then, are there any questions? Let me see. Okay, Mr. Suraj is asking what language is used in the smart contract. Okay, I told you smart contract is a computer program, it's a code. Okay. Now this can be written on different platforms. For example, if you are doing it on Bitcoin and they use a different language. If you are using Ethereum, they use a different language. So there are some of the famous programming language include Solidity, which is used to create blockchain, which is same one which is used for this one. Okay. For creating smart contract. Now the Kushal is asking what are the different models of membership in DAO. I will just cover it in next 2 minutes. Okay, Kushal. Okay. So DAO membership. Okay, there are different models of DAO membership. Membership can determine how voting works. For example, DAOs are created to bring people together. So they are coming for a particular purpose. So when they are coming with their money or whatever that resource they have. Okay. Now once they come, they will have to make a decision regarding whether a particular project should be taken or not. Example like this. See, suppose I decide to produce one film, say Kannada film, and then I can create a DAO and ask Kannadigas, see, kindly participate in this because I want to produce a film. Assume that 100 people will come and they will come with their money. Then first thing that we have to decide is what is the story of the film that we are going to produce. Then everybody will vote and say, okay, among the three stories suggested, we can choose this story. So one decision is made. Then they will say, okay, who should be the hero or who should be the heroine. Then that second decision is made. So all this kind of a thing actually done by what we call membership. So the first kind of a membership is called token based. For example, Bitcoin is a token based because it creates a token and token has a value. And tokenization is one of the qualities of the Web3. So usually fully permissionless. That means anybody can join like Bitcoin and depending on the token used. Okay, and this token is used creating what is called blockchain. Mostly these governance tokens can be traded permissionlessly on a decentralized exchange. Example again, Bitcoin. You can buy it from anyone or you can sell it to anyone. Others must earn through liquidity or some other proof of work. For example, in Bitcoin, either you have already have a Bitcoin, and or if you want it, you can use your Indian rupees or American dollars to buy it. So that is what they do by earn through providing liquidity or some proof of work. In fact, there is something called a work that is to be need to validate a Bitcoin new block. So if you use that, if you achieve that, you will get some credit, and that's called proof of work. So many companies called mining companies do this. Okay. So either by actually getting a liquidity or simply you hold tokens, the moment you hold tokens, you have a voting right. So in a token based organization, everything is based on token. Token will be given to members or the founders who create that one. And if you want to buy, you can buy using a real money in exchange for that one, or you can generate it using proof of work. So once you have that, you have a voting right, typically used to govern both decentralized protocols and tokens themselves. For example, the famous example is MakerDAO. MakerDAO token MKR is widely available on decentralized exchange, so anyone can buy having voting power to protocol. And another example is the platform that you are learning. So we have something called Learn tokens, right? So Learn tokens is also created by Creator Club, okay, which will be shared for everybody depending on his contribution. That means if somebody attends a session for 10 minutes, he will get 10 learn tokens. Somebody asks questions, then he will get additional 2 tokens. Okay. So the first kind of a DAO is called token based. The second one is actually share based. That means 10 or 20 people will come together and contribute money and then they will take. And this is actually permission. That means not everybody is allowed directly like a Bitcoin. So it based on some kind of a restriction. For example, you may say only this kind of people can join. For example, only people who are interested in cricket can join, or only Indians can join, or only Asian can join, or only it could be a gender based, only females can join, males can join. So it is a permission. That means you need to take a permission, and any prospective member can submit a proposal to join. For example, if there is a group which involves people who are just musicians, and then another musician can actually apply for that. And shares represent direct voting power. That means once you become member, then actually you can actually vote in the whole process. So one example is called Maloch DAO, is a focused on funding Ethereum project. So now look at this. It is a permission because only people who are interested in funding projects can join this. How do they join? Either join by making a contribution or something, or making an idea for a project, Ethereum project, or somebody who's interested in an Ethereum project can come and join there, or somebody who want to encourage Ethereum project but who has money can also join this. The third one is repetition based. For example, if you are an author or if you are a cricketer and if you want to create some company like a coaching company, and for example, people like say Mahendra Singh Dhoni can join because he has a high reputation as a cricketer. Virat Kohli can join this. Actually, he has a high reputation. Ricky Ponting can join this based on that. So depending on the reputation, you can create a DAO. For example, if you are creating for a Bollywood, then Shah Rukh can join because he has a high reputation. Okay. Similarly, if you are a particular musical group or musical DAO you are creating, then actually you can create do that by asking people to join. For example, you can ask Bappi Lahari to join. Of course, he's no more, but then that's what it is. So, any questions at this point of time? Okay, I will tell you. The question: what are the different models? I think Kushal have answered your question. There are three: token based, share based. Okay, have I answered your question? Okay. Mr. Aditya is asking, can Python, JS, and Java be used instead of using some same language for this smart contract? See, what actually happens is there is something called legacy system. So if you are creating, say, a smart contract on a platform which is actually window based and all, many of the traditional languages and C++ can also be used. But then what actually happens is, since these languages like Solidity and all created only for smart contracts, they have certain features which C++ may not have. Okay, so depending on requirement, you can pull C++ to certain extent, Python to certain extent, Java to certain extent, and certainly write smart contracts. But for certain fine features, maybe you need something which is a language which is created only for creating smart contracts. Okay, Mr. Prakash is asking, how does crowdfunding work for DAO? Very simple. Okay, crowdfunding is a process where actually you collect money from the public to do a project. So historically, what we used to do is, for example, you create a company, okay, and go for IPO. That means initial public offering, where actually you sell your shares. But suppose your project is not that big, and if you don't have already a reputation, what you can do is you can go for what is called crowdfunding. So I think that I can tell you a simple examples which have happened in Karnataka, Kannada film and all. See, one person with a great story will say that I want to produce a film for which actually I need funding, so I want people to contribute. Assume that a film can be produced for say 10 lakh rupees. Okay, assume that 10 lakh rupees. Then I say anybody who can give up to 10,000 rupees can give contribute and become member to this. Okay. Now then what actually happens is, so then everybody who will pay 10,000 will become a member. He's called a token member because he has contributed 10,000, he will get some voting rights. So then once I have enough number of people to contributing to over 10 lakhs, then the next decision I will make is actually now that I have 10 lakhs, okay, now I will produce a film. Assume that 10,000 people come out and say that actually we are going to contribute to this, and we are the total collected fund is about 1 crore or say 10 crore. Then actually I can expand my plan, because earlier I wanted to take a small film out of my this, thinking that people may not like it or people may not be willing. Now that I have 10 crores, I may say I will produce a color film, okay, based on the story, and I will get a stars like Yash or say Darshan, and then do that. So for everything, this actually happens on my DAO, and actually everybody who has contributed more than 10,000 rupees will vote and take a decision. Okay. So have I answered your question, Mr. Prakash? Okay. Okay. So now I have a little few more minutes of presentation. I'll go back. Okay. I showed told you how does it work. Okay. And now suppose you decide to develop an application. Now there are platforms which are already available. So if you are developing a DAO, and Ethereum is the best candidate. Okay. Ethereum owns consensus distributed and established enough, because what they have done, I told you, they have developed a platform for developing a blockchain platform for developing anything which is decentralized. So you can directly use them. It is like building an application on Windows platform or an iOS platform. Platform is already available. You are just developing an application of your own. Okay. So there are many application, examples. DAO, BitShare is one great example. Okay. And charity, I already told you. Okay. So the difference between traditional organization, there will be a chairman like Anil Ambani or Mukesh Ambani. That kind of a thing won't be there. There will not be a board. Everybody is equally participating in that. Then how do you join? Join by paying a cryptocurrency. Depending on if you want to join Bitcoin, then you have to buy Bitcoin's currency. And if you want to join Ethereum, you have to do that by paying Ether. Okay. So this working already, I told you. Okay. So conclusion is that DAOs provide a new way to create organization, whether it's a crowdfunding or creating a new software. It is based on a blockchain and decentralization. Those are the two ideas. Decentralization helped me to make everybody a member with an equal voting right. It created using smart contracts. Smart contracts are nothing but agreements written on a blockchain platform. So are there any specific questions that you ask? I can ask you. Okay, Prakash, thank you very much. And yeah, Mr. DR, I don't get his full name, but then I think it's good to get your comment, like a very informative session. Okay, thank you very much. So let me summarize. Today I told you about a DAO, that means Decentralized Autonomous Organization, which is possible on Web3 because it supports what we call decentralization. So decentralization is nothing but P2P communication system where I don't need a third party. Example, suppose I want to send you money today or pay you money, then I have to route my money through a bank, either through a check or a DD. But on a Bitcoin currency or on a blockchain, you can send money directly from me to you, and it's called P2P. That is peer-to-peer. So now I can use the same idea to create a company also. That means everybody is a peer, everybody is a member, and that organization is called DAO, right? Okay. So that is the idea. And if you want to seriously create that, you have to create a smart contract which will tell all the agreements of your company, and you actually float that. Or if you want to get money for producing a film on a crowdfunding organization, then you can do that. In fact, there are 2-3 Kannada films which have been produced that way. Okay. So I have another 2-3 minutes for you to ask question. In case there is a question, please do ask. Otherwise, I will just announce my next session. See, tomorrow I'll be talking about DeFi. That means decentralized finance. Okay. So that is at 6:30 in the evening tomorrow. Like decentralized organization like DAO, there is something called decentralized finance. That means I can create currencies and tokens. I can use it for different purposes. For example, I can create a bank on the blockchain by creating a token and lend money to people. Okay. Similarly, I can create a blockchain and create tokens and use it for a charity purpose. Okay. So this idea of using decentralized feature to create finance and manage it is called DeFi, or decentralized finance. So anybody interested can attend tomorrow's session at 6:30. And as I told you, I'll be doing about 10-15 streams for next 20-25 days up to October 12th on different ideas and different aspects of Web3. So make it your time and kindly attend sessions. And if you have any specific question, you can ask me anytime. This is my number, 6360687902. Okay. So, okay, thank you. If there are no questions, just notice this one. Okay. Tomorrow, 14th September 2022, 6:30 on a Creator platform. And one more thing is, actually, if you attend my sessions, actually you get learn tokens, which are very used. Okay. So tomorrow we'll meet. Okay. We shall meet tomorrow evening. Six,